Yes. Let's hear it for our author.
Hi, everyone.
Yes. I'm sorry you're alone, Grace. I just kind of wanted to be able to look at all of you.
I feel like this is like just an intervention right now for me.
Grace,
today,
we have to talk to you.
we would like to talk about how your drinking affects most of us. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you for having us.
It's so exciting to have you as authors. Tell everybody who doesn't know the title of your book and in a few sentences what it's about. Go down the line.
Hi, everyone. Oh, I see my book. Calm it down. It's going to be a long panel. Save your voice. My name's Tyler. I wrote a book, and it's called Binge.
And how would you describe this in a sentence or three? Binge is what? I'm a stranger. I've never heard of you.
It's...
wow.
It's a book.
Do you want to come up here? Don't
give them the option.
Go ahead. What is it about?
Binge is a collection of essays all about my personal life that I've never told in videos. Some of it is happy, some of it's sad, some of it's a little bit inappropriate, and it's just stories from behind the scenes that I would never tell you in videos.
Very good. Grace Helbig, you've written 2 books.
I did.
2 books, author of 2.
I wrote 2 books. One is called Grace's Guide, The Art of Pretending to be a Grown-Up, and the other is called Grace in Style, The Art of Pretending You Have It. And they are just really groundbreaking self-help books for the millennial generation. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
GloZell.
Hello, this is GloZell. Is you okay? Is you good? Because I want to know. Oh, where is my book? Oh, here it is. It's called Is You Okay? It is about my life and how I just became the queen of green. It'll make you laugh, it'll make you cry, so buy it because I have a baby on the way and I gotta get my baby off a layaway, y'all. Gotta get my baby off a layaway. Go ahead, beautiful.
So I'm Niomi Smart, and I've just written a cookbook. So I've cooked for so long, and I just wanted to put all of my recipes into one book for you guys, and it's out in September, so it's still out for pre-order at the moment.
Very good. Now, you're all from YouTube, but you've become authors. Did any of you want to be a writer growing up or have writing aspirations?
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to write more sketch comedy and TV and scripts, but the idea of writing books that were sort of inspired by, quote unquote scripts that I've made for YouTube videos was a really wonderful opportunity that came about when I remember Hannah Hart published a book, and I thought that's a thing that we YouTubers are allowed to do.
She was like the first.
Right. And so when I found out that she did it, I asked if I could do it, and then I did it. But it's a totally different muscle. It's totally different than creating videos, and I'm sure you guys experienced that too.
Yes, my mom is an educator. She's right there on the front row.
Hey, Mom! Thanks for being here.
Yeah, I love that they
Thanks
turned
for
on the
birthing
light
this
so we
baby.
can see you. You know, it's kind of dark in here. We black. But anyway, my mom's an educator, and so I grew up around books. Now that's the thing. I always wanted something tangible, something that you can actually read. And there's stories about my life, like Tyler, that I haven't said in my videos. So you can get intimate with me and read and flip the pages.
For me, I've always really liked nonfiction, like David Sedaris, Augustine Burroughs, Amy Poehler, Tina Fey, those types of people just telling ridiculous things that have happened to them, those type of stories.
And the one you look like?
Who?
Ellen DeGeneres.
Thank you, I think. I just love reading the stories from behind the scenes and those nonfiction autobiographies. And also, it comes from a place of knowing what I would have needed when I was growing up and how much LGBTQ plus literature existed or that I was able to find in the stories that would have helped me in my own process of self-identity, figuring that out. Coming out and things like that. I think had I had a lot of the stories that I wrote about for reference, I would have felt less shame in something that has no shame attached to it inherently.
That's right.
Did you ever read a story from someone or a book that really inspired you when you were like going through coming out in that whole era?
No.
Really?
And I think about, like, regardless of writing a book, just celebrities or people that I looked up to when I was younger, when I was figuring out if I was gay or not. I am, spoiler alert. Spoiler for the book.
We still we can get married now, so it's okay.
And I'm ordained, so I can marry you
Help!
right
That's
now.
right. That's right.
This feels like an intervention. But no, I can't think of like anybody when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Which is sad and brilliant at the same time that you are like one of the first ones. It's sad because it's like 2016, 15 that there wasn't any other books, but because of you, you have saved lives.
Okay, calm down.
You saved lives. Honey, I'm just telling the truth.
Thank you,
I don't have
GloZell.
time.
Make me blush.
What's so great about YouTube is that it opens all of these opportunities to things that you wouldn't have been able to do before. So it's just the book as a way to express all of your passions. And for me, it was cooking. And I think it's so great that I've been able to put that out
I love
there.
food, girl. I love
everyone's
food.
just so different. I think it's
Naomi,
great.
your videos of what you eat in a day, when you're like, oh, I have 5 minutes, and then you make this 5-course meal for yourself,
Brilliant.
is unreal. I'm so excited that you actually have them in book form now.
Thank you. That's exactly what I wanted to do because it started with those what I eat in a day videos where I would just show how quick and easy it is to actually just put a meal together, no time at all, with amazing ingredients that you'll just have in your fridge anyway. So it's not like really crazy ingredients that you need to go and find in some like crazy store around the corner. But yeah, I think that's what's great. All of our books are so different, but we've all started from the same place.
And from start to finish, like, how long did it take you to write your book? And really, what was it like to balance making YouTube videos and creating content and then kind of shifting your brain to, like you were saying, Grace, it's a different skill set to write. So how was it to maintain your YouTube persona and then turn it off and kind of sit in silence and figure out how to write? So how long did it take you start to finish, and what were some of your challenges along the way?
For me, I feel like I was writing forever, is what it felt like.
Did you start before you had a book deal, though, or did you get a book deal and then start writing?
So I got offered a book deal, I think in 2000, I always get 2012 and 2013 mixed up. I got offered a book deal at some point, and I was like, I never thought about writing a book, so I was like, I don't feel comfortable accepting that just because I can, just because it's offered to me. And so I was like, let me just take a beat and try to write and see what that would be like, and figure out if I have anything that I think is worthy to say, let alone worthy for y'all to buy. And then I made a book proposal, which is like the typical way people approach the book world. You, actually, Grace let me borrow I don't know if you remember this, your book proposal from, it was your first book.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what do I do?
No, that was, and I looked at other reference proposals for mine, which was basically like creating this paper version of a PowerPoint presentation.
Yours was so cute. Mine was not cute at all.
Yeah, I've added graphics so that the lack of words was made up for.
There was a clip art involved.
Lots of clip art.
Mine was just, I just wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote, and I had a book agent before, and I told her, you know what, now is not the time, I'll come to you when I'm ready, I won't go to anyone else, don't you fret, because I really liked her. And then out of the blue, once I just emailed her, I was like, I think I wrote a book proposal, can I send it to you? And she just replied like 1,000,000 exclamation marks. She's like, send it immediately. And my book proposal was just a table of contents in like 5 chapters, and then like other chapters that I thought I could write. And then from there, it was maybe a couple years. And the worst thing is with YouTube, it's like, you can make a video, put it up that day. With a book, it's like, we couldn't tell you about the things until that book world is also ready, and the links are ready, and this is ready, and there's a million moving pieces. It's not just the one person show like YouTube sometimes is. But yeah. Do you have things to add?
Challenges along the way, balancing?
Yeah, well, the first book I wrote, it happened very quickly for me, and I was really surprised by it because no one tells you, here's how long it usually takes, because writing books is different for every single writer. And I wrote it in a few months, I think, and it's really interesting because you are alone with your thoughts and with a piece of paper or a laptop, and you have to really, really focus. And in videos, you can create a video while you sort of multitask and do other things, but with a book, it's like taking a phone call. That's why I hate talking on the phone, because you can only be on the phone, really. It forces like your full attention. But on top of that, we're used to editing our videos and posting them. With a book, you edit it, and then you edit it again, and then you edit it again, and you're like forced to like really examine these words that you're putting on paper. My biggest, I think, difficulty was when I went to write my second book. I was really excited to be writing about a different genre, to be writing, comedy style rather than just comedy life advice. But I found that it was so similar to my first book, and it was really just not inspiring to me, and I couldn't even imagine asking anyone else to pay money for it, and I just felt so burnt out creatively. And then I went to a tarot card reader, and
as one does.
As one professional businesswoman does.
Ooh.
And I asked about my book, and it's actually a story in the intro of the second book of how I kind of creatively got out of the rut, asking her about it, and she told me in the cards that the overall idea was that I had to go deeper than what I was doing. I had to get more personal, which is what I stayed away from so much. And then I found when I went back to my office and I actually did that, it was way more helpful. But that was my biggest challenge. I think you have to be your own timekeeper and really, really reinforce your own discipline. So that was my struggle. Did you guys?
For me, it was an interesting time because I recently broke my ankle and my leg in several places. So I had time. I was sitting at home,
You're like, while I'm here.
and the stories are real stories, so it was just a matter of putting them together. So that made it kind of easy for me. I was like, okay, let me do this.
Yeah.
And I was also going through IVF and so I was taking shots. I was going through a whole lot, but I could get it done because I was literally stuck in one place. So
Yeah.
that was my only challenge, and doing videos.
Yeah.
I want some of your food because your food, it does look amazing.
Yes.
You take like a strawberry and you make steak and stuff or whatever. I don't know how you do it.
I think mine was really different because most of it, because it's a cookbook, is food. So I spent most of my time creating this book just cooking in the kitchen over and over and over and just eating too much food, basically. I would literally be cooking from about 7 in the morning until 2 in the morning the next day. So it was constant, and that was for a good few weeks. But I think it was just a whole new experience for me because I'm obviously not used to that. I'm used to, again, editing videos, and it's so quick. It's film, edit, upload, that was it, every single week. And then with this, it was I need to keep on doing this. I need to keep on writing. I need to keep on writing these recipes. So it's a long, long process. I totally underestimated how time-consuming it was. But it's been, just the most incredible thing that I wouldn't change for the world.
When I buy the book this fall, what is the one page and one recipe I must turn to? Tell us now.
Ooh,
Spoiler
that's a
alert.
good one.
What is the one that we really should look forward to or you're most proud and excited of?
I've got a lemon and raspberry ripple cheesecake in there.
Oh, girl.
Done and done.
And it's 100% good for you, but you wouldn't even know it tasting it. It tastes really good, honestly. I promise you.
Okay.
You'll like it, Tyler. You'll like
I'll
it.
do a one-on-one sampling.
Yes, I was going to say, bring some
You should
samples.
do that.
I'll be
Private.
the judge.
So I asked you about recipes, but you three in terms of stories, because you're telling stories, personal stories in your book. Two-part question. What's the one story in the book that you tell that you couldn't wait to share with the world? I'm really happy or relieved to share this story, and I want them to know this about me. And was there a story that you thought, I'm a little dreading the reaction to this, but I'm gonna put it in anyway? What do you think?
So my book goes all over the place. It's got fun chapters, sad chapters, whatever. The one chapter I was so excited to talk about was I wrote one called The One That Got Away.
Yes.
Um,
I added him on Facebook.
no, you did not. Oh my God. Jeez, oh Pete. Oh my God, I'm not surprised if you did. So it's the story of my relationship with my first boyfriend, and it was a tumultuous 1-year roller coaster that I've never felt more alive in any other part of my life than that year. And I look back at it the more I grow older, the weirder I look back at it and realize different things. And writing about it helped heal me in so many ways. And I had written about it back in college, and then I had journaled about it while it was happening. But when I really wrote the chapter, it was when I finished that, I just felt so at peace. And then I sent it to him, and I was like, girl, this is getting published whether you like it or not. Enjoy.
And his response was?
He called me 30 minutes later crying, and he was like, it's perfect, you don't have to change anything, blah, 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 it's honest. And we're like really good friends now, so everything is really positive. But
and what was the story that you thought, oh, this might not go over so well, or somebody they warned you like, or you know, tell us something, or something you cut. Tell us a little something you cut.
There were things that I cut
for the next book.
For the girl, yeah. I would get a little intimate with some. I'm an adult. I'm a grown-ass man. Sorry. And
you used to tweet about adult sleepovers a lot more than you do now.
I know.
But back in like 2011, you're like, I had an adult sleepover.
I'm born again. Let me live. So as an adult, I have had some experiences with gentlemen, and some of those stories have been in the book. But you know what? I was like, I'm not going to put anything in it that I wouldn't tell my mom. And my mom has read all of it. So I'm not too fussed. There's a story.
None of it's vulgar. I read your book twice.
I know.
None of it's vulgar.
Twice? Oh my
I did
God.
read it twice.
Thank you. Yeah, nothing's too vulgar. But like, I just never talk about relationships or like stuff like that. So that was exciting for me to dive into. And now that I've done those stories and like the response has been relatively positive, I'm like, oh, I can tell y'all juicier stuff soon. So I've been doing. I'm just taking a couple years to research and really get those stories.
Grace.
If anybody here.
Stories that were
Or
most
anything,
exciting.
yeah.
One that I really loved putting in that I didn't remember was a story until I remembered it and started writing about it was shopping with my dad for the first time. I wrote about it in the Grace and Style, where he took me shopping for my birthday when I was in like 7th or 8th grade, and he took me to the Limited 2, which is like, oh my God, yeah, you know, that's like the mecca for every teenage girl. And I never shopped at Limited 2. We were a Ross Dress for Less family. And when he took me there, I was so excited and but so overwhelmed that I couldn't pick anything out, and I was like really panicking with the indecisiveness. And then he told me to get jeans, because that was the only like item of clothing he actually recognized in the store, because he's a dad. And I was so upset with him that I got jeans from Limited 2. I was like, I thought I lost this opportunity to get
Were they like bedazzled?
No, they were just straight leg jeans.
Straight?
Yeah, right? And, but then those jeans lasted me for 4 years in high school, and he taught me a really valuable lesson about buying classics, investing in a classic piece. Yeah.
I'm just
Thanks,
impressed
Dad.
that the jeans fit for 4 years. I can't
Yeah,
find
I'm a
nothing that
very
fits for 4
late
years.
bloomer. Very late.
I have thighs that they get a hole in the jean right
Can we
here.
zoom in on
Oh, yeah.
Tyler's
Please don't.
thighs? Thank you.
Like
Thumbnail.
5 minutes of walking and like these thighs
Tyler, you
rip
need to
apart
get
your
some like
denim.
this. They're like
Yes.
the widest
Oh,
leg
that's-
trousers ever.
Subtle, yeah.
Air can get up in there.
Airy.
GloZell, anything? Or you have something, Grace, you didn't want to share, or you kind of
The
dreaded
stories
sharing?
that I
or no?
didn't want to
Oh, well.
share is about my family. I have some family stories in there because I figured they might read it. And you know, bad news travels fast kind of a thing. So I know it's going to be a hotline like, girl, did you hear what GloZell said about you? What up? You know, but I changed the names to protect the uninnocent, you know.
The uninnocent.
That kind of thing. But it's my truth, and I did change the names, but they know who they are.
What's all of you been like, except for Naomi, because your book didn't come out yet, where you can answer, what do you hope, you go first, Naomi, what do you hope people say? I always think, when you go on Amazon, Tyler, Grace, and GloZell, and someone has written something, what's the type of review that you're like, they got it? Like, what's one of the reviews that you remember, or Naomi, what would you want people to say about your book? What do you hope they get out of it?
So I would be so happy if I just looked on the reviews and there were comments saying, oh my goodness, I have never cooked before. I've never bothered because I thought it was too time consuming. And I've picked up this book and I've learned that it can be really fun, quick and easy. And the bonus is that it's good for me as well. that's all I want from the book.
That's a good thing you said about reviews. Thank you. When you buy, I see a lot of you guys are holding up books. Make sure y'all leave a review.
Yes, please.
Please do. Like, go take your time, go to Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble or wherever you can, and leave the review 5 stars. 5 stars, you know.
Yeah, 'cause we
Anything
read them.
less, log out.
What do people write that touches you the most, that you see it and you're like, oh, because I know you retweet sometimes. Yeah, you've retweeted some viewers, thanks for the review. So, like,
Yeah.
what are some of the things that hit you in the heart the most and the softest?
Well, I'm obsessed with myself, so I'll read every review, as one does. But I think the ones that like are the coolest to me are like somebody who is like I've heard of him. I don't think he's for me.
Right.
But then they're like.
People are so like that. Gay people are so like
We're
that.
like,
That's-
yeah, they are truly.
don't get him.
Or like people that aren't necessarily the YouTube demographic.
Right.
Or young people that are like, this helped me in this way, or I felt less alone because of this, or whatever. I just feel like the best review will be like, wow, I feel like I know him better now, or wow, I see him as a much fuller human than what I've gotten from just videos or just podcasts or whatever it could be. I feel like I know him better. That's been the goal, is to like be more honest and show the good and the bad. Like there are multiple times in the book where it's very unflattering for me. It's not my best angle, and it's like I look like an asshole or things like that. But I'm like, those truths complete the whole story. It's not just a best edited 3 minutes that you see once a week.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And it gives you the perspective that we get to see from you today and understand, like, oh, that's why his view of the world is like this, because he's had this,
Right.
this, and this happen to him
She's
before.
crazy.
Right. I want people to think I'm funny. And like Tyler was saying, people that aren't necessarily watching YouTube videos or know of me from any other thing, I had a friend of mine from a while ago that I hadn't spoken to in a long time, who's a male, like mid-30s comedy writer in LA, text me and say that, oh, you don't need to know this, but your new book is really funny. And that just like blew me away, because he's not in my demo, which is like amazing, because everyone in the demo is like really sweet and supportive and like who I'm making this for. But someone that, you know, doesn't consume any of the regular content genuinely thinks it's funny, and he's like a paid working comedy writer, and so it just made me feel really, really great. And that to me was like an amazing, amazing review from someone, which was cool. In hindsight, I have to find out if he was being sarcastic about it.
No.
So.
What I like about writing a book also is when we do our, I don't know, I think you're going to do a book tour. Book tour is that you get to see, it's not quite the VidCon audience, so it's people who go to bookstores, and that's a little bit different. So you're having a different conversation, and you're meeting new people in a different way. So I really am enjoying this, the growth of my audience through having a book.
I think what's so interesting about the 3 of your books is that people probably feel like before the book they knew everything about you because you're on YouTube, you make these videos, and then reading your book, they're probably like, I've just seen a whole new side of all of you, and that's so fascinating. Yeah. Did you find it hard coming up with stories that weren't already on YouTube?
It was really helpful. As soon as I signed the book deal, I was like, okay, now I know what's happening. When I went into record podcasts, I would sometimes be like, wait, I want to save that. Or like when I'm like making a video or something was happening to me, I'd be like, I want to save that for the book. Or, you know, things like that. And the table of contents that I wrote, half of those chapters that I thought were surely going to be in the book, I just didn't write because I was writing what I wanted to write first. And then when I had enough, you know, chapters to fill the requirement for the book, I was like, oh my God, I still have like 10 other chapters that I just didn't write yet. So it was the best like route for me was just writing what I wanted to write first, not what I thought I had to do first. And after that, I was like, wow, it felt like it just flowed really easily.
Yeah, I live a very boring life. And so I had that panic moment of like, oh my God, I don't have any stories left. I have said everything that I think is like a little bit interesting about my life online somewhere over the last like 7 or 8 years. but then I realized that when you are writing a book, it's a totally different form of storytelling. And storytelling is a wonderful, beautiful art form, and you can craft a story out of a very small moment that's happened to you. And it's all in how you tell it, how you write it. And you can make something that to someone in person might seem like a very minor event or minor moment. The way you work with words can make it this very meaningful experience in this really kind of escalated moment. It doesn't mean you embellish anything about the story, but the way you interpret the story can be told in a really, a ton of different ways. That's why writing is awesome and also totally terrifying, because you can go in so many different directions with it. Did you feel that way writing personal stories, the way you told it? Were you trying to create a message towards the end of the story in any way?
Your life ends up being a message.
Right.
So are you a positive message or a negative message? So when the goal was to tell the story about my life to get to where I am now, because that's what people want to know.
Right.
Then you really start digging into things a little deeper, and you're like, oh, maybe this is why I ended up on this road. And so you're also discovering yourself or rediscovering yourself as you're writing the book, and other people see that also. My mom was reading the book, which I was like, why are you reading the book? You made me. You know what's going on in my life. But it is different reading within the pages, like, oh, this is really good, which I appreciate, because I wasn't expecting for her to read the book. So those are my experiences with it.
Did you all have alternate titles? Like, what was title number 2 option, or was it always going to be binge, or did you have another title?
Oh, goodness. I can't even remember. There were, it could have been 50 emails back and forth between the entire team of, the book people and my people and, I don't know, everyone. And I would bounce book titles off of other people, but there were so many options. But binge, to me, it was, I really like the thought of a one-word title that's an interesting word that invokes a reaction and imagery, and I don't know, I just really gravitated toward it.
It's an easy hashtag.
It is an easy hashtag.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really liked it because if you read the introduction, the very first page, it explains why it's called binge. And yeah, no, as soon as I figured out that title, it was a no-brainer. But up until that point, I was like, no, I don't really love that. I don't really love that. But then once I hit that one, I was like, that's it.
Yeah, the titles were pretty straightforward. We fooled around with the wording of them a little bit, but I kind of knew that I wanted to do this because I also wanted to set up for myself the opportunity to kind of create a series of books that aren't necessarily, iterations of each other, that can go into different areas, and give myself that flexibility. But the fun thing was, in the books, you can see every sort of chapter. There's all of the other titles that that chapter was going to be called written on the title page, crossed out. So we tried to use everything, even the bloopers and the stuff that would normally hit the cutting room floor. And that became part of the quirkiness of the book, which was fun.
My title from the jump was "Is You Okay?"
Yeah.
It was just a matter of how we're gonna spell okay, or okay, A-Y. So that was easy for me.
I think you made the right choice.
Oh, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
Do any of you have interest in writing other genres of book, like fiction or novels or anything? What do you think? What's
Yeah.
in your brain right now? What do you think?
Yeah, I would love to write a fiction piece.
Who's the main character? Give us a spoil. Give us
Dun, dun,
that.
dun.
You've got her in your brain. Who is
Not
she?
yet, not yet. I'm still
Yeah.
working it out. But I would love to. It seems incredibly intimidating, and I know that I'd really have to make a commitment to the time. You see someone like John Green, who's an amazing author.
Yes.
He's amazing, and he creates wonderful, wonderful pieces that really bring people together and really, even make people feel things without expecting to. But it takes a long time. He's taken 4 years to do this next thing that he's working on, and yeah, when you want to make the piece that everyone talks about, that everyone feels something for, it takes that time. So I would love to. I just have to selfishly commit to that time, and I haven't gotten there just yet.
I think I would definitely stick to cookbooks because I've just loved the whole experience, and it would be really weird if I suddenly was like, I'm going to do fiction or something. Because, yeah, I've just loved, that's what I'm about, that's what I'm passionate about. But back to the title, it was one thing that I never really thought about during the whole process, and because it wasn't that important to me at the time, I was just concentrating on getting these recipes done. And then I already had the idea for the book I was already writing, and I was reading comments on my What I Eat in a Day videos, and there were a few comments saying, you need to write a cookbook, and you need to call it Eat Smart, because my surname is Smart. And as soon as I saw that, I was just like, that's it.
That
like,
works
honestly.
so well. It's like stupid how like you were meant to do that.
Yeah. No, I'm so happy that I saw those comments because it took the work off of my shoulders as well. I was like, okay, my audience have just named my book for me, thanks.
That's amazing. That's a
Yeah.
great story. This is a really interesting question from Stephanie, who tweeted this just now. I really like this question, Stephanie. Do you find your video process has changed since you wrote your book? Did the delayed gratification change anything? That's an interesting question.
The only thing that's changed is now if I feel like I can't properly tell a story in a good 5 minutes, it deserves its own chapter, and so I'll save it selfishly. So yeah, that's the only thing.
Anything?
Yeah, I guess the only thing is I got really personal in the start of my second book and got really wonderful feedback for it and felt really vulnerable doing that, but it has made me wonder about, becoming slightly more personal on my YouTube channel, which is primarily comedy, and not, obviously skewing in the other direction of this is now about all of my feelings and thoughts about myself and my life, but instead just allowing myself the okay to infuse the comedy with like more personal stories and moments that I think is what attracts us all to the content that we watch online anyway. Yeah.
100% agree. Very
For
good.
me, I'm going to started another channel called Glow Mama G, and she laughing.
No, I'm like,
It
that's
was me.
great.
Glow Mama
That's
G,
great.
and that's where my more personal stories that go, because my regular channel is challenges and acting crazy and having fun, and then all of a sudden I just gave you like, and so, like click, pass. So on another channel it started. So I'm excited about that.
Abby wrote a nice question. If you went on a book tour, what was a memorable moment from it? You've got to have some moments on the book
So
tour.
many. We probably have
Crazy one. What was it?
similar ones where you've got the fans that's crying, the ones that you felt like, okay, they really got the book and they're excited about it, not just because you wrote it and I just want something in my hands, but I really want to get to know you.
Right.
Those
I
fans.
really loved, the coolest thing about going on tour is going to like small towns
Yes.
or going to like these tiny bookstores. My favorite moment by far was going to my own hometown and going to the bookstore where all my friends used to work at the cafe when we were in high school. It was the same bookstore I went to for like the midnight releases of Harry Potter books. I would dress up and like wait in line at that
Don't clap
bookstore.
for that book.
What?
No, I'm just kidding.
What'd you say?
I'm trying to get them not to clap for that book.
Don't
only
clap
to
for
pay
that book.
attention
We're not
to
here
our
for Harry
books.
Potter. Or we love Harry Potter. I don't know. But yeah, just going back to that, like it just felt like, I don't know. And my friends were there. My family was there. The volunteers were like people from my high school. Like my
Yes.
teachers came. It was like home. It felt so nice. That was my favorite memory of book tour.
Yeah, I had a similar one in New Jersey, where I'm from. Went to Jersey, it's a state. Went to a book signing in northern New Jersey, and for the second book, my mom and stepdad and my stepmom and my dad all got to come to the book signing, which was really amazing for them. They hear about everything that we all do, but to see that firsthand, especially because my dad understands what a book is way more than he understands what a YouTube video is.
Right.
So it was really wonderful to see them just feel pride, and also for all the people that attended the book signing, especially parents of people that were attending the book signings, got to talk to my parents kind of one-on-one and have that like camaraderie of like, hey, what's this internet thing? But look, this is really cool. Everyone seems very happy here. And that was really like a very sweet moment.
Did you read anything from your book at your signings?
The very first signing of the very first book stop for my first book, I did, because that's a normal thing to do, and it felt so uncomfortable for me that I didn't do it anymore, because I don't know, there's something about it that just didn't resonate with me.
Sure.
And I wanted to try and give more time to, like, I don't know, just saying, hey to everyone, did you read sections of your book?
No, but like every book signing that I go to for non-YouTube friends of mine, they all read like a chapter or something. And like that's, I don't know, it's so enjoyable for me.
A whole chapter, that's a long.
Well, or like a portion or something.
Because the kids are just like, I want to take your picture.
They read the whole book. No, and I've always thought like, wow, I would love to do that, but it's not really practical. So maybe I would love to try that. And I love going back to David Sedaris. He will always do like huge theater shows where he goes and reads chapters from his book. And it's like listening to the audiobook, and it's kind of like it's not a performance, but like you're getting the full effect of how a story was meant to be told from the start.
Right. You can hear his tone and his sarcasm, yeah.
And he's got such like a particular voice. I would love to do something like that with the book. I don't know, someday. Who knows?
This is getting me so excited for my book tour now, but also, isn't it the weirdest thing actually having a book in your hands? Because that's one thing with YouTube that you don't get. You don't get an actual product that's
That was the
physically
weirdest
there.
thing, yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
When you guys were talking about being at home, I am born and raised in Orlando, Florida. So when I went home, when I left from Orlando, there was no YouTube. You know, so it took my journey a lot longer. So when I finally came back, because there was times like, I don't want to come back with nothing, you know. So when I finally came back, it was, whew, thank you, I finally made it, and I felt like it was an honor to come back. And of course, they, in the newspaper, oh, she made it, kind of a thing. But there was a time that people were like, I don't understand YouTube, I don't know what you're doing, you're embarrassing to the family, I don't understand. And then, oh, the president likes you. Oh, you know.
And you're like, sorry, new phone, who is this?
Exactly. Because your ideas are dumb and stupid until you start making money or being recognized. Then you're a genius. Then people are like, oh, okay. So it was nice to have a positive reception when I got back.
Someone tweeted, why does the host keep stroking Tyler's back and touching him?
Right.
Sorry.
I would want
Can't
to
keep
know.
my hands to
He's
myself.
so soft, right? Tyler's
thank you.
soft.
I am soft?
Yes,
actually.
you're soft.
I don't know why I put that as a question. I meant it as a statement. I am soft. I'm very, you can, thank you.
Who's another YouTuber who's written a book? There were a lot of tweets about other YouTubers writing books, and 2 comments. One, don't you feel like you have more street cred now in your bio? You're a New York Times best-selling author. There's something about that the rest of the world, you know, they used to poo-poo YouTube until like the last 2 years, and now it's like, oh, you're a best-selling author too. Like when you were number 2, what was the other? Who was Bill O'Reilly? It's like people who didn't know what
Bill
YouTube
O'Reilly.
was, they were like, what the hell? Who's this guy? I mean, it's crazy to think that you're a best-selling New York Times author.
It's good and it's also weird because I think a lot of the traditional book world feels like there's an asterisk on that, and they're like, oh, they're just like a YouTuber though, so like.
They feel like it's not completely deserved.
I can't speak for everyone, but
I mean, you get that impression, and so that's why, like, my favorite reviews come from people that aren't, you know, part of the YouTube world necessarily, that think the writing is actually well done.
Yeah,
you know, you
same.
want to. I think we're all professionals here, and so everything that we create, we want it to be the best product possible, and not just because we've done well here, so may as well do that. I think it's more like it comes from passion, it comes from desire, it also comes from like ability to be able to do that. And so it's a weird thing. The New York Times bestseller list is has such weight and gravity to that, and it's an amazing, amazing thing. It's also very strange.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I cried.
Oh,
like,
me too. Me too. Yeah.
But like, it still was like, pinch myself, weird, bizarre.
But
like,
we're groundbreaking. Like, you know, it's not always easy to become some of the first coming from a different genre into another genre, because people see you as, okay, you're a cute little clown over here in this little corner on the computer. But now it's like, uh-oh, now they're breaking into our area and doing well. You know, the audiences are coming with us to our other platforms, and that's amazing. And everybody in the world just have to, you know, take notice, because here we are.
And YouTube is such a great platform to obviously open the doors to these opportunities, but at the same time, you can't rely on that. You still need to end up with a good book, because you are going to open up to a whole new audience that have no idea who you are on YouTube, and you need to appeal to that bigger, wider audience.
And it's not that far-fetched if you really think about it. It's a lot of YouTubers are storytellers, or they are professionals in their craft. So if they translate that to a different medium, it's not weird in any sense. It's, I mean, I would raise my eyebrows a little bit more at a different type of person becoming an author, because we do this every day in a variety of different ways. Any YouTuber can do that in any way, and for a lot of YouTubers that spent years and years and years being a YouTuber, it makes sense that you've honed the craft of storytelling and might want to try something new or a new platform to do it.
Yeah.
And the coolest thing was for me, going into the book writing world, it felt like I was getting to start a brand new job with a craft that I loved doing for 8 or 7 years already. So it didn't feel like a weird, bizarre transition. It just felt like a new way to do it.
Yeah.
Who is a fellow YouTuber not on this panel right now who you read their book, and whether or not you knew them or not, you're like, crap, that's a really good book? Like, who's someone who you read their book? Just name one or two that you just thought, oh, I love their book. Not because they were a friend or a fellow YouTuber. You're like, this is a good book. I really enjoyed it. I recommend it to anybody.
Well, I did because I do know her and I love her and we all know her and love her, but it happened to be a cute book. Miranda Sings.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Oh, it's
so
so
good.
good.
Yeah, Miranda Sings.
It's amazing.
Yes.
It's so funny. I mean, yeah, this is going to sound really biased, but Mamrie Hart is an amazing,
Oh,
amazing
yes.
writer.
Hilarious.
And she's an amazing storyteller, and she comes from a comedy writing background. So this is in her wheelhouse. So it's not something new for her. It's just a new opportunity to showcase a talent that has been pre-existing in her for, way before YouTube. And her book is outstanding. My stepmom loves Mamrie's book so much. It's insane. Yeah, I love that book.
I was gonna say Mamrie too, so you stole my answer.
Sorry.
But
Fine.
And Mamrie would say you, because Mamrie read I watched Mamrie on a plane read your book.
Oh, God.
And she was crying, but laughing, crying.
Oh, well, yeah, I was hoping. That's really sweet.
And she was reading me parts of it before I read it about you trying to swallow food to impress a girl at a table.
Oh, those
Yeah.
were the days.
God, that
When I thought I
know.
was straight.
Did you really?
Did you really?
Oh,
Did you
yes,
really?
honey. I swallowed a whole half of a peach because I thought that's like how you get a girl. And then
I don't know where you got your info from.
What, you swallowed a peach because why?
I thought a girl would think that's impressive.
You know how people
Put that
like
peach in your mouth.
you know how people like tie cherry straw, like
Yeah.
cherry things with their tongue? That was his version of that. I'm gonna swallow
And then I
this
was
peach
choking, and my
half.
mom had to give me the Heimlich maneuver.
Oh my God.
Anyway,
Sophia
read
tweeted,
about it in the book.
Sophia
That should've
tweeted
told
and
you
asked,
right
this
then.
is a good question, Sophia. Was it difficult to give over control to an editor? Because you are used to just doing whatever the heck you want. Did you get any feedback that you were like, I'm not budging? Or how was it working with an editor?
For me, I had an amazing, amazing editor. I think a lot of people, and I don't know what everyone's process was, but you meet a lot of editors, and I really chose to work with someone that I thought really understood my brand and my style and my tone and wanted to just help me elevate that rather than change it in any way. Right. And so she didn't give me much feedback at all. She just literally, for my first book, she said, in the book in total, you've mentioned the word diarrhea 12 times. Maybe we should reconsider this. And I said, okay. But the best part is when you get the line edits back, or the copy editor reads through it for spelling errors and that sort of thing. And I use so much internet slang that they just underlined like every word on every page. It was like, could not find dictionary definition, could not find dictionary definition. I had to write back like, no, I want to spell, later with an 8 in it, please.
I had like edits from like the team and them being like, if you want this sold in a bookstore, you can't say this phrase. I was like, good to know. Okay.
What are they?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
My process was pretty similar. You meet with a bunch of editors.
Yeah.
I had 2 days of meetings with different editors, and the reason I picked mine, he was the only one that really challenged me at that first meeting. A lot of the others were really nice and really kind and had a lot of great ideas. But he was one of the only ones that came in with edits already. And he's like, you're good, but like, we got work to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, like, let's get to work. Like, I wanted it to be like pushing me, to elevate me, and like to challenge me on what I was capable of. Because I think there are opportunities for a lot of creators to just put something out. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to be challenged. Because it is an established industry, and I was like, I want to respect the world that I am getting a chance to enter.
Right.
I don't want to just do it because I can. I don't want to put out, I wanted somebody who was going to challenge me.
Do you have typos in your book? Like, a couple people are tweeting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. People are tweeting. I don't know if they're like dragging you. You have typos in your book.
After how many rounds of edits, somehow there's like still typos.
Oh, same. There's I'm so pissed. I referenced like Backstreet Boys or NSYNC, and it should have been the other one.
No.
Yeah.
How dare you.
I
Oh,
know. Blasphemy.
Pull it from the shelves. No one needs to see that, for the love of Ray J.
I'm really worried about typos in mine because that could be a serious problem with the recipe. Like,
You'll
if it
never.
says-
There will be a typo. Just accept it.
No, I would have meant like 1 teaspoon, and really it's like 10 tablespoons.
Oh my God, that's a bad typo though.
Yes, long,
Drama.
especially with cinnamon.
Do you guys sign your books when you go into bookstores? Do you go in, because you've posted pictures of you like snapping?
That's all I ever do.
I know. I feel so uncomfortable doing it. I have
Really?
to get the confidence. The first day that the first book came out, I was in New York, and I went to a Barnes & Noble, and I found it. And you would have thought I was stealing all their books.
You do
because
feel like
I went-
all
it was-
eyes on you.
I went downstairs, yeah, and I literally was walking around looking to see if there were security cameras around. And then I like found it on a shelf, and I like quickly took it out, and I had a Sharpie with me, and I just signed it like really quickly and like shoved it
I
back
start
on the...
sweating.
Yeah, it's so because I don't know. It's like editing a video of yourself on a plane. It feels a little like people are
And
like,
they're
what
always
are you
like,
doing?
I had a
Yeah.
book signing at the Grove,
Yeah.
and they say, you know, Tyler comes in here all the time.
That's what they
he
told me
signs like
too.
100, and you know he comes in all the time. They love you, so it makes it easier and happier when other YouTubers are doing things and they like them, as opposed to, you know what, those jerks or whatever, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So I just think that is really sweet. I just wanted to tell you that.
sometimes Connor and I are like, we have nothing. Calm down. Sometimes we're like, what should we do today? I'm like, we could always just go sign our own books. I'm like, that is the grossest hobby anybody could ever, like if they need to like spend an hour doing something, we're like,
I
let's
did
just go
a-
to the Grove.
No, I did a signing at the Grove a few months ago, and they were like, "Yeah, Tyler was in here the other day. He was wearing shorts and flip flops, and just walked in." I was like, "That was a detail that I didn't necessarily."
I remember
need."
that day. Because
They
somebody
love
took a picture of me doing it, signing,
Yeah.
and I'm next to the manager of that store, and he's that tall, really tall guy at the
Yes,
Grove.
yes.
And I
Larry, or anyway, I just was there. So.
I look like the
Lenny.
smallest child of all time, with
He was
like a
very
stack
tall.
of books in short shorts,
Yes,
just
yes.
wandering around Barnes & Noble. That's my brand.
Zach wants to know, did you guys have say in the process of designing all the graphics in the front and the back? And Grace, you've got lots of thematic and lots of photo shoot in your book.
we were with this amazing designer who laid out the first book, and she really took cues from the kind of stuff that my Twitter headers and all of that stuff that already is pre-existing in the world. And we had a conversation about how I want the book to feel, and she just came back with this amazing layout that just like nailed it so immediately that I worked with the exact same team for the second book so that it could feel really cohesive, and it was really incredible. So I have to give her credit. I can't take a ton of credit for that, but she really, really nailed it, and that I think helped the book because it's not so story driven. It is supposed to be more of an aesthetic kind of piece throughout it. But it was awesome working with someone.
And in that first book, you were a brunette for that first
Yeah,
book.
yeah.
Scandalous.
I was
Who
emotionally
is this
fine.
girl?
Yeah, it's weird to look back at that book now and think that was me. But I
looked
think it
good.
also plays into it a little bit, the idea of like pretending to be a grown-up.
Yeah,
It's
I
like-
colored my hair for this.
Right?
Naomi, in your book, a cookbook,
Yeah.
how much say did you have in the photographs and all that stuff?
Yeah, I've had full control of every single element of the book, and because it's been such a different experience for me, I wanted to take my audience on that journey with me. So I've actually filmed, like daily vlogged the whole kind of process. So even the design meetings with the whole publishing team, that's on my YouTube channel. Also next week's my favorite one. That's going to be the behind the scenes of a photo shoot of the book. So you've got the cover behind the scenes, so you can actually see everything that's going on. Like
I
the
love
photographer
that.
telling me, yeah.
That's awesome.
And that's going to be the cover reveal as well next week. So that's really exciting. But because it's been so different and different for my audience as well, because they're used to seeing, like cooking, cooking at home, those kind of videos, and even a bit of beauty, a bit of fashion, and then to see this whole book process, I think it will be exciting for them as well, because when they actually get the physical copy of the book, they'll be like, I remember them shooting that, the behind the scenes, I saw that. And even the design of things like the text, I've even shown me choosing the font for the book. So they'll be like reading it, oh, I remember her picking this font. So cool. Yeah.
I'm the same way. I was like the most particular about every little thing, and I think my team hated me throughout.
I was going to say, my publishers definitely hate
I was
me.
like, can I see 30 options for fonts? And they're like, there's not even like that
And your
many
paper
options.
stock is so nice.
Oh,
too. I appreciate
So
it.
I really loved Amy Poehler's book and like the weight of it and the feel of it and the because you also have to decide, okay, are you gonna have color throughout? Are you gonna have thick pages? Are you gonna have paper pages? Are you gonna have a laser print color? Like there's a million decisions that have to be made. And so I was like I had my foot down for everything. I was like, this is how it's gonna be. And thank you. But the cover was an adventure. There were a few different options for what I wanted the cover to be. I never wanted my face on the cover, and they were really insistent, like, oh, let's just go into this with an open mind, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay. And I was like ready to get all the pictures back and like be like, see, I told you. But then I really liked my own face, which is unsurprising. So that all worked out. But there was one version of the cover where we even shot it. I was naked in a bathtub of candy.
We've got it.
No.
Oh my God. Let's roll that clip.
Oh my God, goodness gracious. No, that will never see the light of day. I saw. No, it's not anywhere.
Who shot your cover? Was it Robin?
No.
Oh, okay.
For me and my book, the issue with mine is that I didn't want it to look too young because I wanted to appeal to an older audience also, but still not, just throw my base away, the children away. So it's, it's me, kind of look adultish, but still has some whimsical fun in it.
GloZell, you look stunning
Thank
on the
you,
cover.
thank you.
So
Thank you.
beautiful.
We only
I
have a few more
appreciate
minutes.
that.
Let me just ask, who here would like to write a book? Any aspiring
I
authors?
hope you all do after all of
Very
this.
good. So what have you learned? What's some tips? Like, what do you wish you knew before you started? What's some general writing advice you could share with these people?
I just wish I started earlier. It's like, what took so long? We had the audience, we were here. So it's not too late. You guys a lot of you are younger than myself. Get it started.
Yeah.
But that's me.
Also, one thing I would say is that there's never going to be the best time. You'll always be putting it off. That's one thing with me. I was like creating recipes. I just kept delaying it because I'm a bit of a perfectionist. But then you've just kind of got to go with it and just set yourself a deadline and then work towards that, because if you don't, you'll never get it done.
Write every day.
Yeah.
Even if you have nothing to write about something, because it's still going to stretch that muscle and get you to be better at it. And that's really helpful. And know that some of the things you write will never see the light of day, and that is for the best. Because you're going to figure out what is for me at least, there are chapters that I wrote that I would send to my editor, and he'd be like, honey, this ain't good. Like, this, either work on it or like scrap the concept.
Yeah.
Did you ever hit a wall and like writer's block and
yeah.
write anything?
My second book, I wrote half of it and then I scrapped all of it because I was having a writer's block moment, but I was refusing to admit that I was having any sort of creative block. So I was like just writing, but writing this like repetitive stuff that was so familiar to the first book. And even, my editor came back and she was like, okay, I don't know that this is as good as you could do. Like, you have potential to do more than this. And so don't be afraid to start over, I think, too, if you really believe that you could do better. And also, like, hold yourself to a high standard and really challenge yourself and surround yourself with people that see your potential and that will challenge you.
People that are honest,
yeah,
too.
Absolutely. Because it might not be what you want to hear, but it's what you need to hear.
Amen.
Yeah.
And especially just from being on this panel, whatever you want to write can exist. It doesn't have to fit a box.
Right.
We all did very different approaches to the literary world. And just because, like, somebody likes that, just because you may think that, this would not sell or something, you have no idea. Maybe that's what's missing. You know what I mean?
It's like making a YouTube channel.
Right.
Make videos about what you're passionate about. Write what you're passionate about.
Exactly.
Very good. Well, you guys are wonderful, and congratulations on all your success. Thank you. Let's hear it for all of our panelists. Tyler, Grace,
Thank you,
GloZell,
everyone.
Niomi. Happy VidCon, everybody. Go home and write.